This is question number 9 of number 11 of problem of practice homework 1, problem 2-11. So here we're provided with the income statement and the balance sheet for a firm, Vita Corporation. And the question is asking what is the change in net in cash during the year 2017. Do not run intermediate calculations. So here I want to use Excel to solve out this problem. Actually, one benefit of using Excel is that you can directly copy this into your Excel sheet. See that this is the income statement, and then we can also copy the balance sheet. Yeah. So to get the change in cash, simply it's the 2007 level minus the 2017 level minus the 2016 level. So obviously that's 21. So we just copy this number back to Excel. Change in cash is 21. What's the unit here? It doesn't mention the unit, so we just direct copy the number. B, determine the change in net working capital in 2017. So in order to determine the change, we have to determine the level first. So the 2 years level. And to do that, we want to, why don't I copy the, actually, why don't I copy the number here? Yeah. So because I don't want the calculations to be done on the balance sheet to affect the income statement. That's why I want to operate the calculations here. So we can add one row which stands for the total. What's the total current asset? Total current assets. So this is the sum of cash plus other current assets. That's the total. And then you can pull this to the right to get rid of the intermediate numbers because they are meaningless here. And we can get the 2017 level. So that's the total current assets. And because net working capital is defined to be total current assets minus total current liabilities. Right, so that's the definition. So then we also need to calculate the total current liabilities, which is simply accounts payable here because there are no other items in the current liabilities. So now we can do the calculation for the, let me add one row here. So NWC, this is the current assets, 2016 minus current liabilities. And then we can also pull all the way to the right to get the 2017 level. So the change is simply the 2017 level minus the 2016 level, which is 51. So copy that number back. And then the final part of this question, determine the cash flow generated by the firm's assets during the year 2017. So far I have using Excel, I have automatically followed the rounding requirement, do not round intermediate calculations. And for the final part, a negative answer should be indicated by a minus sign. So that means the cash flow from assets could be a negative number, which means that the firm during this year, the cash actually flows from the firm to the investors rather than the other way around. And do not round intermediate calculations. So to get the cash flow from assets, we should first get the operating cash flow, right? Then we do two adjustments. One is to take care of the change in net working capital, which we already did. The other one is to take care of the capital expenditure, net capital expenditure, which we could calculate by the change in the net fixed assets plus the depreciation expense, which we can get from the income statement. So now let's get the operating cash flow first. So to get operating cash flow, let me add one row here, which is EBIT, right? EBIT, which stands for the earnings before interest and the taxes. So that's revenue minus expenses and minus the depreciation. So that's the same as EBT here, which means in this case, actually the firm doesn't have any interest expense and taxes and net income. So then to get operating cash flow, we know that this equals, let me do it here. This equals, we start from EBIT, and then we add back the depreciation. And then we deduct the taxes. So that's OCF. And the net fixed assets, here we can get the net capital expenditure, capital spending. This equals change in net fixed assets plus depreciation expense. So in our case here, this is 2017 level minus 2016 level, and then plus the depreciation expense, which is in the income statement here. So, and finally, we can get cash flow from assets here. Let me do it here. Cash flow from assets, which is the operating cash flow right here, and then minus the change in net working capital right here, and then minus the net capital spending. So this turns out to be a negative number, as we explained, which is a possibility based on the rounding requirement here. So we could just type negative minus 30, and let's check our work. Yeah.